Caleb and the rest of the fans behind me are going to be here till the tip-off at 11 o'clock.
But first, KOMU 8's Todd Tumminia is live in St. Louis at the Board of Curators meeting. Todd, what do you have for us?
Jim, good afternoon. Yeah, right behind me on the third floor of the Millennium Student Center is where the action is going to take place, and it's going to happen momentarily. We don't know exactly when, but I can tell you there's 4 microphones laid out, and there's a giant AMU banner. Cardinal Nation obviously extends way past St. Louis. It's one of those. It's all across the country. What's it mean to come out and say hi to fans that come up for games every once in a while but aren't in St. Louis?
Based on not only in the playoffs, but the game like last night, but where we were. I mean, I think it'll be a long time before we see it again.
Good morning, Mid-Missouri. Tonight marks the 82nd Major League Baseball All-Star Game in Phoenix at Chase Field, home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. The National League leads the American League 5-1 in the 8th inning when Prince Fielder goes yard. Take a look at this fan. I don't think he's ever seen a home run before. He is in shock. When they line up against Kentucky, what can Mizzou expect to see?
A loss, a loss on their end, but, Anthony Davis getting alley-oops. Marcus T, lightning speed up the court. Michael Gilchrist, in your face every single second. Terrence Jones just being an animal. When they play Kentucky, most likely they should just go and get ready for a loss.
We have an update on a story that we brought you last Thursday here on U News. It's a story that shows how the Cardinals' never give up spirit can be contagious. KOMU 8's Todd Tumminia joins us with that story. Todd?
Thanks, Sarah. On August 25th, the St. Louis Cardinals were 10.5 games out of the playoffs. Their season looked over. Around the same time, one of their fans was fighting for his own life and never gave up on that team. The players turned it around, and that fan's dream came true. Before the Joplin tornado hit, Mike Byers and Mark Lindquist were complete strangers. But on the eve of Game 7 of the World Series, Byers became more like the little brother Lindquist always wanted.
Happened to find out I had 2 tickets, and of course, it was like, Mike, okay, you saved my life. I'll never be able to pay you back, but here I'm going to. Here's a ticket to a Cardinal game. We got to be even.
The two shared a moment that both only dreamed of.
I'm excited. Didn't get much sleep last night, watched that game, and just grinned all night long, man. Laid there. Every time I would wake up to go to the restroom or whatever, I had this stupid grin on me.
A bond that started days after the city of Joplin changed forever.
We found Mark. I mean, he had little blood in him, and we tried to stop the bleeding the best we could. Mark was still fighting he was still moving and fighting to stay alive.
Lindquist continued his fight in the hospital. Doctors induced him into a coma and told family members they didn't know if he would make it.
For 2 months, we didn't really know if he would live or not. And if he did live, they said he would probably have no brain function beyond withdrawing from pain.
But Lindquist kept fighting and proved doctors wrong. He came out of the coma and started asking questions.
The first words he said to me were, "Are my guys okay?"
Lindquist lived at a group home on Iowa Street with 3 developmentally disabled men. He did everything he could, but the tornado claimed the lives of his guys.
And I had trouble dealing with that at first, but I realized that they're in a better place. And now instead of me watching over them, they're kind of watching down on me, and I actually feel like I have 3 angels.
3 angels watched over Lindquist as his struggle continued. After coming out of the coma, his life was put on hold again. He contracted the life-threatening fungus disease.
He saw an angel in a light green light, and he said at that point, I knew the fungus was gone. And very soon after, they told us he was free of the fungus. Yeah. Not a red light, it was a green light, not a cardinal red.
It is unknown how long Lindquist will live. He created a bucket list of things he wanted to do. Number 1 on that list was attend a World Series game and watch his favorite team. An anonymous donor made it happen. Not only did he see history in the making as the Cardinals won the World Series, he shared a moment with his new younger brother and his 3 angels.
Go Mark, go Cardinals.
In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a the Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
A great story.
Lindquist is now living with his brother in Southwest City, Missouri. That's at the corner of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. And he actually has plans to get married soon, so the story doesn't stop there with Mark. This looks like an ordinary high school football game, until you look a little bit closer. More than 10,000 people packed Jung Stadium, a stadium built for only 4,500.
This is awesome. I mean, this is why we brought in the extra bleachers. We knew it was going to be a packed night. You know, the first home game's always a big deal anyway, but with all the things that happened this past spring, we knew this one was going to be even more special.
Having some kids that lost their high school, lost their homes, you know, maybe lost some family or friends, that they did not lose their football season, I think is, you know, makes them appreciate it more.
As Joplin moves forward this season, one player will not be suiting up for the Eagles.
You don't know how much you miss it until it's gone.
Quentin Anderson lost both of his parents in the tornado, along with sustaining major injuries himself.
There's always the physical change with all the injuries I had, and then there's a mental change because now I'm an adult, even though I'm not quite 18 yet, but I got forced into that adulthood. But, I mean, at least I was raised to, you know, be able to take this on. I was raised to be independent.
Players honored Anderson by putting his number on the back of their helmets. The gesture, according to Anderson, makes this team a family that has a new leader in charge, someone who arrived in Joplin just days before the tornado hit.
I wasn't looking to leave. You know, I was at a very happy place in a good situation at Winsfield Holt, and so wasn't looking for it, but Joplin was just one of those jobs that I thought was the right time, right fit.
The new head coach lost his rental house and lived with assistant coaches while he tried to find a new place. His dream job came with an audible that brought a close community closer.
It's just overwhelming. You know, it's just something that you don't ever really expect to happen, but it has.
I'm an old man, and these things like this, they kind of excite me even. See, I'm 94 years old.
This community, this team, this family cheered as one for the first time since May 22nd.
This whole community coming together and showing up and giving the best fan base that I've ever seen in a high school football game.
How much our community cares about our football team, and, you know, and it wasn't, you know, just football. It was, you know, symbolic for, you know, how Joplin's recovering, you know, everything. It's progressing forward. We're doing great, you know.
So on this night, in this moment, Joplin became one. One big team fighting together. Todd Tumminia, KOMU 8 Sports, Joplin.
Have you ever been told you can't do something you know with a little hard work and determination you'd be able to achieve? KOMU 8's Todd Tumminia has the story of a Hickman High School student that continues to make the best with the abilities he has.
Success is something Michael Logan has gotten used to on the wrestling mat. He finished 40-13 this season, but nothing ever came easy.
We were determined that we're gonna make this kid defy those odds.
When they brought me home from the hospital about 6 months later, they found out that I had optic nerve hyperplasia and nystagmus, so they just did whatever they could to make life a little easier, but without treating me like a blind kid.
He's probably not going to walk on time, and you're going to have to teach him Braille, and he's not going to, you know, be able to see like the normal kids. And it's just like, what do you mean?
It meant Logan would be different, a difference that didn't stop him from trying.
With my vision, football was kind of hard to do because they would always put me at receiver because I'm so small. So catching the ball up here and making that connect with the eyes wasn't always good.
And it's like, please don't throw him the ball, you know, because granted, you know, he may hear it coming, but you know, it might not be something that he can see in time to catch.
With the condition that he did have, he had to have something that was in close proximity to him.
And that's where wrestling came into the picture, a sport that played to his strengths.
Well, wrestling's one of those sports where if the athletes are in contact, there's no advantage one for the other.
Logan set a goal freshman year to make the state tournament. The senior fell one win short of that goal, but it didn't change how his biggest supporters felt about him.
Even when he stepped off the mat for that last match, you know, it was heartbreaking. And as heartbreaking as it was still a good feeling that he is such a hard worker, and the determination and the dignity that he walked off that mat with, you know, it says it all.
To me, he is already my hero. And I know I've heard my wife say that, but we're so proud of him.
And to think Logan is only 17 years old. Stay tuned for the next chapter. Todd Tumminia, KOMU 8 Sports, Columbia.
Logan does not plan on wrestling in college next year. He's still deciding whether he'll attend Missouri State or Central Missouri.